Recently, the first DLC pack came out for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, one of my most played games on the Nintendo Switch. One of the tracks in particular sparked my interest, Coconut Mall from Mario Kart Wii, my favorite track in all of Mario Kart. But when I started playing the track, I noticed a few things that were different from the original version. Hey everybody, I'm Solomon MKW, and in this video, I'm going to be telling you everything Nintendo did wrong in the Coconut Mall remake in Mario Kart 8. First of all, the track looks about as good on the Switch as it did on the Wii and the 3DS versions, which both came out more than 10 years earlier, which isn't a huge issue, as I don't like complaining about the graphics in games like this, as they aren't one of the main focuses of the game. It's just that I had to notice that the DLC tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have noticeably lower quality graphics than the main tracks in the game. Another visual problem I have with this track is the track was packed with way more little Easter eggs in the Wii version, which are not present in the Switch version. They made tons of little shop names and scattered them across the mall in the Wii version, but in the Switch version, the track is almost entirely filled with the advertisements they used throughout the rest of the game, such as the Bowser oil. There's a lot more little characters cheering you on in the Wii version, for example, the Mii's on the side of the road at the end, which are not there. I think the Mii's were a nice little touch. One thing I miss from the Wii to the Switch version also is they would have signs that were made up advertisements for the little shops that had like different Mii's faces that would be photoshopped onto there. While in the Switch version, that is not present. They just have advertisements that they have scattered throughout the rest of the game that they didn't make up uniquely for this track. These aren't huge issues, I just think they overall degrade the whole quality of the track overall. One thing almost anybody who has played the Wii version will notice is that when you leave the mall, there are huge orange arches that say thank you on them that are not present in the Mario Kart 8 version, making this section of the track kind of feel empty and almost incomplete. There's also a ramp, which is missing in the Switch version, that was present in the Wii version. The escalators in this version are now just ramps, which doesn't really make much sense to me. The escalators don't have the little details to make them look like stairs anymore, and they're pretty much just a ramp on them. They have little lines, and kind of, I guess you could say it's an escalator, but there's nothing showing you that it's an escalator unless you knew it was an escalator already. It's a pointless change. It's not a huge deal, since I guess you could kind of see that they're still escalators, but it's a pointless change, and not a big deal. The biggest gameplay problem I have with this track is that it's noticeably shorter than the Wii version. My first run through on a time trial in Mario Kart 8 was nearly 10 seconds faster than the time I've been practicing for years on in Mario Kart Wii. A lot of the staircases and hallways seem either way too wide or significantly too narrow. The track is absolutely not scaled correctly for this. It seems that Nintendo also has not added any gimmicks to this track to make up for changing the track's layout to suit the game better. There's no anti-gravity or anything, which isn't a huge deal, because I think this might have ended up making the track even worse. There is a glider ramp if you take the top path here at the end, but that was already present in the Mario Kart 7 version, so it's not really a change. The biggest problem with this remake, though, is that the cars at the end don't move anymore. There's only 2 of them, and there's no boost panels. And instead of having Mii's that ride around in the cars, there's Shy Guys. One of the things that almost anybody would remember and bring up when you talk about Coconut Mall is the car at the end with their uncle in it that they always would run into. But they removed that part of the track almost entirely, so younger people are not going to have this same experience with the track. This version of the track does do a few things right though. The music in this version, I think it fits the track less, but I think it is an overall nicer piece of music. The saxophone and the piano both sound a lot cleaner in this version. I like both of these instruments in this version of the song, and the drums are less chaotic and less loud. I think it's good. I think it's good that they made this change. It just fits the track a little bit less. The tricks coming off the escalators will not send you up as far in the air, so the 1 in 500 chance of hitting the signs hanging down from the ceiling is now a 0 in 500 chance. You can still ride on the side of the railings, which is a plus, and the downward moving escalators are not as strong, so you won't go from first to last, just first to 10th. Another thing I like about this version is that the cheese grater stairways in between the rooms are now gone. We now have green ramps, which is realistic to something that could happen in a real mall. I also like that they kept in the piantas in the background. I was worried they wouldn't keep them in, since I don't think any other track in Mario Kart 8 has piantas in the background. But they did take the little effort to add the piantas in the background, which is nice. Bases around the trees and the fountains are easier to get lower tricks off of. You will not be sent 50 feet in the air after you go off of these anymore, which is nice. I guess it takes away a little bit of the skill factor in this track. Being able to get the low tricks would help you a little bit more in the older version, but it helps out casual players a lot more against people who are a little bit more experienced with the game, which I think is good. Overall, it's an okay remake. I'm especially disappointed since, you know, it's my favorite track of all time, but it's a nice remake. I'd say it fits Mario Kart 8 pretty well. It's like a 6 out of 10 remake for me, personally. As for the other tracks in the first wave, I would like to say they're all pretty solid. I've never really played any of the Mario Kart Tour tracks before, so they're pretty much brand new experiences for me. I think that Tokyo Blur was a weird pick for a track, since they already have Toad Circuit as a beginner track in this pack, but it's kind of cool since the layout is different on every single lap. But there is another track that already does this in this pack. Paris Promenade is a very unique track since the layout changes every single lap, with the last lap having players in the front and very back possibly interact while driving in opposite directions. I enjoy driving the layout of all 3 laps, but some of the turns on this track seem to drag on for far too long. The track is also very pretty with amazing visual. Ninja Hideaway is a very cool track since there's so many paths to take on this track and so many little shortcuts that you can take. The aesthetic of this track is also very neat. It's most definitely the hardest track out of the 8 to drive. As for the returning tracks, I've played all of them in their respective games. Toad Circuit is basically the same track it was in Mario Kart 7. It's a very simple track. It is very nice though. It's a breath of fresh air from always playing so many complex tracks. I do not think it'll get picked very much in online lobbies though. I've never been a huge fan of Choco Mountain, and this version feels super empty for some reason. There's just not a lot of obstacles or really anything to get in your way on this track. This is probably the worst track of the bunch. Sky Garden is a returning track in the same sense that Cheeseland and Ribbon Road are returning tracks, as it doesn't even really feel like the original track, which is fine. This version is cool, but if the items that race are boring, it's not really that interesting of a track. Shroom Ridge was the track I was second most excited for, and I was not let down at all. Shroom Ridge was a very solid track on the DS, and is even better here. This track in both games is just the good part of the Moonview Highway, but for the entire track. It feels amazing in Mario Kart 8, and running into cars feels just as punishing as it would on the DS or the Wii. With very solid music as well, Shroom Ridge is one of the best Mario Kart tracks of all time. With DLC Pack 2 most likely coming out in 3 to 4 months, I would like to give a few tracks that I would like to see in Pack 2. Daisy Circuit from Mario Kart Wii, Wario Shipyard from Mario Kart 7, and DK's Jungle Parkway from Mario Kart 64. I think these would all be awesome tracks to see in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Overall, I think this will be either in the middle or lower half of the packs in terms of quality, and I think this pack will be the one I'm most disappointed by. Overall, a 7 out of 10 pack. If you enjoyed this style of video, please leave a like on the video, subscribe, and tell me what your favorite track was in this DLC pack.